it's funny to me how some women use the fact that you don't have children as a read. How the fuck is that a read for me? I chose not to have children. I ain't want no children. I'm free as a bird. Jackie, the athletic talent of the family, became emotional when watching scenes in which he was depicted playing baseball with his school team. I watched as tears came to his eyes and he began to sob. "Did you know that my father never came to watch me play ball?" he said. "My father never believed in me." His pain was hard to watch. I had hoped this miniseries would bring everyone together as a family. Instead, it just seemed to be evoking painful memories. Girl, Peggy, you need to get a better editor. Because it's real hard reading this book. It's a lot of flaws in this book, girl. Who the hell edited this book? Charlie Chan? Joe's Crab Shack? One afternoon, Jackie and Joseph got into a shoving match. They fought quite a bit over women since Jackie, as the handsomest brother, always had his pick of the lot, and Joseph found that hard to deal with. Joseph wanted to have sex with everyone else's girlfriend or wife. Disgusting. Catherine told me she thought Joseph had slept with the wife of one of his brothers. Like father, like son. Now you see that situation between Jermaine and Randy wasn't so far-fetched. The same demon that was in Joseph was festering in Jermaine. As the miniseries was winding down, we were counting the days until we would have a finished product to show the network. I knew in my heart that we had a winner and that the family was going to reap the benefits of the publicity, both financially and emotionally. For another moment in time, they would once again feel like stars. And I wanted them to have that chance before making my own dash to freedom. When I began to realize how many people would potentially be viewing the miniseries, I imagined other ways to capitalize on this one last gasp of fame for the Jacksons. Since no one had seen the family performing together since the Victory Tour, I thought it would be the perfect time to try to reinvent the Jacksons once more with the single pay-per-view concert. Ooh, that damn Margaret, say what you want to, but she got it in her. She come up with the concepts and the ideas, and plus she had the associations to make things happen. The advantages were obvious. Quick money, no long-term commitments, and Michael might just do it to make his family financially secure and get them off his back. I asked Michael's manager, Sandy Gallen, for a meeting and was given 10 minutes. Appearing at his office, I found I had been scheduled midway through a manicure appointment. That ain't good news, girl. I proposed the concept of a single mega concert pay-per-view. I knew Michael was ready to tour with his Dangerous album and had already paid all the startup costs. I also knew that during the show he did a Jackson 5 medley backed by film footage of him and his brothers. I suggested the brothers could be incorporated live at this point. To his credit and my gratitude, Sandy listened to every word I said and told me he would convey my concept to Michael and get back to me. It took him only 24 hours. I told Michael about the meeting with you. "It's a great idea, Margaret," he said. "But unfortunately, we've already done a deal with Michael to do a show on HBO. He told me further that Michael's new deal with Sony Records didn't allow him to perform with anyone else. Now, Peggy believed that it was BS because she was like, there's no way in the world that a man as powerful as Michael Jackson would be pigeonholed to any record company. But, meh, say what you want. He didn't want to do it. I became partners with Suzanne's cousin, Tony Jones, himself a Hollywood veteran. Tony was a producer at DePass Entertainment and was a valuable executive on the Jacksons and American Dream. He was attached to the project from the start and worked tirelessly. I was constantly amazed at how he could make the most difficult and complicated task look so easy. At home, however, Jermaine was on a non-stop campaign to turn me back into a stay-at-home housewife and a mother. In addition to repeating his marriage proposal, he brought up the subject of another baby. There was no way. Let me tell you something. People call me selfish to this day because I decided to never have children. It is funny to me how some women use the fact that you don't have children as a read. How the fuck is that a read for me? I chose not to have children. I ain't want no children. I'm free as a bird. No, I don't get special stimulus packages. I don't get none of that. But when all that money spent up, I'm still free as a bird. Yeah. Taking it back to Peggy, I respect the fact that you got 2 children, okay? And you trying to get your groove on with those 2. Why would I sit there and have a 3rd baby with a man who can't afford the first 17 children he got, and now he want to have 18? Girl, pay the child support that you already have, okay? But why would I want to put that burden on myself to have a 3rd child when I'm trying to find me and who I am? Okay, Jermaine Jackson, I might have used you as a stepping stone, but baby, I'm over. God bless the child that got his own, Having given birth to 2 wonderful sons, I had no desire to head to the maternity ward again. My life was on a dramatic upswing. Working on a miniseries transformed me into a bird that had taken flight, free as a bird. At this point, Jermaine owed hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes, having failed to pay any capital gains tax on the sale of his Brentwood house or on the $1 million or so he had gotten from the Arista Records deal. And you want me to have a baby with you? Another baby with you? He owed a $200,000 balloon payment to Hazel as a result of their divorce settlement. His child support payments continued to pile up. He owed the settlement of our lease on the Beverly Glen house and the house we rented in Atlanta. Now, pause, girl, wait a minute. If y'all lived in the house, that means that y'all owe the money, okay? Now, girl, I see you, girl. Those are 2 people living there. Now, there are 2 adults. The only people that don't owe no money on the house that live there is the children. Now, I'm kind of looking at you sideways. He owed money to his lawyer, Joel Katz, his plastic surgeon, Raj Kanodia, his divorce attorney, and his business manager. Okay, them debts, them could be his, because I'm not paying for your fucking nose job. What compounded the problem was that Jermaine refused to stop spending. Because of expected tax liens, I had taken over control of the checkbook and our single credit card. But Jermaine would not think twice about sneaking the checkbook out of my purse and forging my name to buy things he wanted. He also memorized our credit card number and made purchases over the phone. And he still was trying to put together deals with Bob Petralia and others of equally questionable ability. Every time Jermaine opened his mouth, it cost us another $5,000. Like Joseph, Jermaine wanted me pregnant. He wanted to exercise control over my life. He wanted me unemployed and at home. That wasn't going to happen. Leah Bongo, however, seemed only too pleased to be at Jermaine's beck and call. She can have a nigga. The 2 began spending nearly every waking moment together. While they were not overly affectionate, they didn't make any secret of their friendship. As autumn turned into winter, Joseph began to spend more time at Havenhurst. Although his stroke had softened his stride and weakened his ability to rage out of control, his lust for women continued undaunted. In 1992, Joseph was rather blatant about his relationship with Terry Bingham. a blonde, rather plain attorney who served as Joseph's lawyer on several occasions. Catherine and I would sit in the kitchen drinking hot chocolate, and at midnight or 1 a.m. the telephone would ring. Without even acknowledging Catherine, Terry would ask to speak with Joseph. "What's this woman doing calling in my house at 12 at night?" What's you doing? Question it. He been doing it. Every other bitch he messed with been doing it. Why you got a problem for, Catherine? What Joseph's liaisons lacked in intrigue, they made up for in number. At the same time he was getting calls from Terry, he was also managing a Japanese singer named Mihoko. The woman was a frequent guest of Joseph's at his Las Vegas home, and Jerome Howard, Joseph's now former business manager, told me that he once walked into Joseph's room to get some paper and found the boss and singer together in bed. This was the bed he shared with Catherine. After this story, I wondered if Joseph had ever heard of a hotel. First of all, why the hell would Joseph pay for a hotel when Catherine let him sleep in their bed with other women? What Catherine gonna do? Cry? Go to him and say, "I know you slept with that hussy in our bed"? That's all she gonna do. Why get a hotel when I could sleep with my hoes in my marital boudoir? There had indeed been a change of guard at the Jackson house. Years before, when Catherine had joined Joseph in California, he was in total control. So much so that he didn't even want her to learn how to drive. Her job was in the home, scrubbing, cleaning, and taking care of the kids. Catherine was from the school that believed a woman's role in life was to give birth, nurture, and die. Listen, I am very old school, you hear me? But I also believe that there should be some appreciation in the home and there should be respect in the home. The concept of getting involved in business was foreign to her, and Joseph never discussed the family business dealings with her. Only later, as the children matured, did Catherine come into her own. She's a savvy woman with wonderful natural instincts and possesses a certain logic that transcends education. As the children grew up and rebelled against Joseph's tyranny, they all turned to Catherine, their rock in the storm. While Joseph had tremendous drive, he had no business sense. The children saw that repeatedly, even as kids. It was Joseph who had allowed them to sign off on their Motown contracts and royalties. And as Joseph aged, his business practices became even more suspicious and plunged the family into lawsuit after lawsuit. Ooh, that was a bit of tea. On Sunday, November 15th, 1992, ABC was scheduled to present Part 1 of The Jacksons, An American Dream. It was the accumulation of 4 years of hard work, energy, and enthusiasm, and I couldn't wait until 8 p.m. to arrive. We watched the first 3 hours in relative silence until the show ended. The final 2 hours aired 3 nights later on Wednesday, November 18th. It was a rating smash and a critical success. If I were expecting applause or even a pat on the back, I got neither. Leah Bongo said she liked it, as did Jackie. But Jermaine, Catherine, and Joseph took the show in stride without comment. But there was one thing no one needed to tell me. I had delivered on what I had set out to do. The family had received more than $2 million in profits. The show, that ain't enough. That ain't enough. To be split between the Jacksons and the child support payments, that ain't enough, girl. That ain't enough. You failed them in that. Now, I give you much kudos for coming up with the idea of the American Dream, a Jackson family, whatever the hell the name is. I ain't trying to be disrespectful. I just can't think of it right now. But you failed them. That show was worth way more than $10 million. The show was delivered on time and no lawsuit was ever connected with it. Now that's a feat. Unfortunately, what should have been one of the proudest days of my life was really the beginning of a nightmare.
Oh, my life.